Seller News Live. Got Robin and Danon with me today. Appreciate you both joining me.
Yeah, man. Good to be here. Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
Absolutely. We were talking a little bit before we got going. Some very interesting third-party news going on with Walmart and Best Buy testing out some new things that we're going to dive into today. But lots of good news this week for the most part. I think mostly good news this week, which is surprising, especially in the Amazon world. Usually there's some bad news, but as you were saying, Robin, Amazon can surprise us at any time with these kind of things. So we'll see how it goes. But everybody out there watching live, feel free to throw your comments in the chat, and we're happy to bring them into the show and talk about them as well. It always makes it more enjoyable when we can interact with the live crowd out there. So
Yep.
if you're watching, throw your comments in and we'll discuss them. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the first story here. So, Walmart tests in store promotion of online marketplace products. Walmart is plotting a new strategy that connects in store shoppers with online third party marketplace products using QR codes. Customers can scan these codes in a Texas store to view and purchase extended variations of products like appliances, TVs, and even beverages that aren't physically stocked. So, right now, only in Texas, and I'll go down here. You can see the little QR code here that people can scan to, I'm assuming, look at more variations of this grill. But they'll probably put them all over the store and see how it goes. So I guess, why don't we start with you, Robin? What do you think of this and how effective it's going to be?
I think that, it says they're doing one trial store in Texas. I think that I, I I'm wondering right now if the demographic is different. But so I would have to see how this test goes. So I would be cautiously optimistic. It would looks like it's going to be a small test. I
Mm-hmm.
think that I would expect that this would be a smaller lift than what we see with Walmart's Home and Home Plus. So, I've got Walmart Home Plus where now I can get my groceries delivered, but if you do like the extra upgrade, then you don't have to pay tip and you don't have to pay a delivery fee. So that's having me order more. And then while I'm in there, I'm ordering sometimes things that need to be shipped to me. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's really reduced the friction on some of these third party marketplace sellers, where this still has quite a bit of friction, because they'd have to, have it and then have a login. So I would have to see how it goes. But it's one of those things that's going to be either awesome or it will go the way of the dodo bird and we'll never hear about it again.
Yeah, QR codes are always, I don't know, they're very finicky, I
I
guess
mean,
is a good word.
QR code should really thank COVID. I mean, they really gave them a renaissance, right?
That's true.
We thought the QR code was dead. I don't know about
Mhm.
you, but I kind of when they give me a QR code for the menu, I feel like a 90-year-old woman, like I want my menu,
Yes,
But
yes.
And
I
turn off
always
the
try to
lights in
get the
here, darn it.
physical for sure.
yeah, with my flashlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely, for the younger crowd, I would say, millennials and younger. Although, millennials are getting up there towards 40 as well, so it could be, Gen Z and stuff like that. They're going to be using this the most, but millennials and down, I would say, for sure. But still, like myself, when I find a QR code and you put your phone at it, and sometimes it gets it, sometimes it doesn't. So you're like standing there like ooh, trying to get it to get the link. And then when you get the link, you click it, and sometimes it'll open in the app, sometimes it'll open in the browser, and then you gotta log in. So then you're just like, the heck with this. I'm
And
not
that's where I
doing it.
think the friction will be, right? So, like, are the people in the stores, do they have the app? And is it opening in the app? And if it's not
Mhm.
opening in the app, then they have to log in. And so I think that it could be great, but I'm a little Yeah, I can't imagine like my dad shopping and doing that. And I can't really imagine my son doing it because he's 18. And I think he'd be like, Mom, they don't have the purple passion. Can you
Mhm.
see if it's online? Right. Or he would go to, so, or he would look on Amazon or something. So, I mean, I think it's a good thing to test. It could be interesting to see the data.
I see two
Yes.
things here. So, yeah, by the way, Justin, you're old, man. So those gray hairs, I know you've got gray hairs behind that dark beard in that picture there. That's a before children picture.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's an older one, I'm thinking. But yeah, I just turned 44, Justin. So I feel you. I'm
yeah.
at the very, very top end of the millennial slash Generation X end of that. So yeah, millennials are getting up there. It's pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, I have no idea what generation I am. I just know I'm 42. I know what year I was born.
You be
Um,
millennial then, because you have to. I think it was 81 was the cutoff.
oh, okay. All right, fine.
Yeah.
Well,
81 was it depends who you talk
Yeah,
to. It goes back
you're
and
definitely at
yeah,
forth.
least,
So,
what is it? Is like
we'll
7.
ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Ryan says he's 45. Oof.
yeah,
Ah,
45. I got another year before I get there. So
before you start hunting for headstones
yeah, yeah.
on Amazon.
Then I'll start saying, back in my
Back
day,
in my
we
day,
didn't scan QR codes.
in '08, I was a youngster and but okay, so regard back to on topic here. Clearly people's ages are a hot topic, but when it comes to e-commerce, uh I see two things for this QR codes. Number one, is that Walmart is going to be able to display more products in less space and not have to hold inventory. And number
Mhm.
two, I think if this comes to pass and it rolls out to the other stores, you're going to that what they're promoting is use of the Walmart app,
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
which they're going to want people to spend like any business let's just take social media as an example because that's where people spend most of their time. The whole purpose of those platforms is to get you to doom scroll until you fall asleep, right?
Mhm.
And so these platforms, they want us on there longer. They want us spending more time. Like it I think this makes sense for them. And I also think that Walmart as a brand is considered well, so you've got your Walmarts and then you've got your Targets and you've got your Amazon and you've got I don't know what else is out there, Whole Foods, right? And they're
Kroger.
all yeah, Kroger, yeah. And they're all catered to different classes of people for the most part. And I think that
Mhm.
that that Walmart is trying like Walmarts are everywhere, of course, but they're known to be in rural areas, right? Because
Mhm.
in a rural area, everyone can come from hours, 2 hours around, and there's just nothing else that has the quantity of things that they have. And
Yep.
so this is going to make it so that people in these rural areas that don't travel to big cities can go and into them and go, "Hey, look at that sweet barbecue." And then they'll go scan the app and, "Oh, I have to download this app." Well, I guess I'll download the app and, you know, and I think it'll just foster more adoption of their app, which ultimately is what Walmart wants. They want more people spending more time on their app and on their website, and basically positioning Walmart of it's not just what's in the store.
Mhm.
We're not just the biggest retailer in the world. I think or whatever. I don't know what their size is compared to others, but we're not just the biggest retailer in the world, we're the biggest on the internet as well. So this makes sense. It makes sense to me, and I think it's a quite a good tactic to get people to be using the app and also see that they can see other products, whereas the store only has to house one or two of this item,
Mhm.
and then that's a big ticket item, right? And they don't have to ship it to 150 stores. They can have it in 3 or 4 or 5 central warehouses and there you go.
And if you know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't limit Walmart to lower socioeconomic classes either, because
No,
Walmart's
no,
been,
I'm
yeah,
just
with the
saying I didn't.
GLP-1s, they're bringing in more six-figure earners, and I think
Mhm.
the Walmart Plus partnership that they did with Amex Platinum has definitely brought in some higher income earners as well.
Yeah, I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
I'm saying that if you go outside of big cities, you don't see Targets there. You see Walmarts because they can attract a
Yeah.
massive amount of people from rural areas. And Walmart's like I have cousins that when they wanted to go hang out, they went to Walmart, because you could
Mhm.
get Subway there or Little Caesars Pizza and roam around the store and hang out outside, and that's just what they did.
Yep. Yeah. I remember doing that when I was younger as well, every once in a while. I mean, they're open till all night, 24
Yeah,
hours
exactly.
sometimes. So, you're 17, 18 years old or in college or something, you're looking for something to do. Yeah, you can go to
Exactly.
Walmart, look around and see what's happening.
And
And the Walmart in Scottsdale and Paradise Valley in Arizona is just as busy as the one in Phoenix. So, I mean, that's just, I mean, lived in a small rural town for a couple of years too. And, Walmart, it seems like they've been changing the things in the front. They don't have as many of those options in the front anymore. So, but it definitely is a place. I think they're definitely trying to change their brand and to maneuver. They keep
Mhm.
shooting themselves in the foot a little bit.
you think
Just as
so?
soon as sellers are getting excited, they they've been kind of killing a lot of the momentum that they had in getting sellers excited to move over. But I think it'll be interesting to watch over the next 6 months.
Yeah, before we went live, Robin, you were talking about that some of your brands are struggling to get their products activated in Walmart, that they're having to go through some advanced
Yeah,
verification.
they're doing so, they're trying to limit resellers, and there's a new enhanced vetting process for several categories. I know a lot of people, really reputable good sellers, that have been shut down in the last couple weeks,
Oh,
or
really?
that have been restricted with products with no notice. And then as an agency, as an approved agency for Walmart, they sent us saying, "Hey, by the way, it might be tough onboarding people." They didn't say it that way, but that there's going to be this slower, enhanced vetting process. Even a brand that we have that's in Amazon, that's in Walmart's retail stores in the food category, we are having problems with the listings being taken down for that enhanced vetting, and having
Hmm.
to get they're like, how do I do a letter of authorization when we're the brand owners? So it's affecting more than just resellers, even those resellers that have already been vetted by Walmart.
So did Walmart hire some ex-Amazonians?
I don't know, man, but
Yeah, they
I
got
was
I
some
mean,
good
getting
this
so
is
pumped
programmers.
up about Walmart and the future of Walmart. I was like getting to get gung ho, and then this happened, and I was like, man, just talk
this
about
literally
shooting yourself
sounds
in the
like
foot.
Amazon.
I know it
Yeah.
is, and I think they're trying to do it too fast.
Yeah.
So, Amazon can do those things because, you know, they can take their ball and go home. There's not a lot of places, that we
Yeah,
have
they
that.
don't care what they affect, and they'll fix. It's more that I've been saying this for a long time, and we're going to talk about this topic in,
Yeah.
in a moment. And in fact, I'm doing a webinar on it in a couple of weeks with a couple of my buddies. But you know, Amazon, I've never seen Amazon s- do an announcement and say this is changing at this point, and everyone goes, "Fantastic! That's going to make everything so much better." No,
This is exactly what the
yeah,
improvement we asked for.
yes,
It's
this
always like
Mhm.
AI listing help. No, we don't want that. No, thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Yeah. And like, hey,
Womp womp.
all those survey questions that I answer on every Seller Central account that I have, it finally means something. No, that doesn't
No,
happen. What
no.
happens is Amazon says, by the way, we're making this change. This is when it's going into effect. And they break a shit ton of stuff. And then everyone has to go to seller support to get it fixed. And seller support says, you're not authorized to fix this problem. Or they say, what's the problem? I see no problem. Or they say nothing,
Mhm.
and then everyone has to go through these hoops that don't even exist yet to get this stuff fixed. And we'll
Yeah.
talk about that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And I'll give you my opinions on that. But
You're talking about the variation cleanup
Mhm. Oh yeah.
statement?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Clean
yeah.
up,
We
clean
we
up my
can we can jump to that one next year.
sure.
But one last thing I wanted to say on these QR codes that they're going to be having a little bit of a battle with that because there's been some news lately about how QR codes are being hijacked. Like these QR codes in
Mm.
stores, someone puts a sticker over it of their own QR code that leads people
Oh.
to a malicious website and hacks their phone, steals their information, and stuff like that. So that's
Ooh.
a little bit of a worry out there as well, especially if you're just putting up these signs in the store. Anyone could walk over and be like, slap their QR code over the top,
Yeah.
and now they're hacking phones
Well,
through
even
that.
if they put the actual physical product in some of these stores, they took select products and gave them sample shelf space. Like if it's not with the other stuff, or like there's so many things. Even if they did that, it would still be. We'd have to kind of see how it would play out.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm happy they're doing something. You talked about last week Best Buy launching their third party marketplace as
Yep.
well. It's all these things are good. It's just a question as to how much effect they're going to have
Yeah.
and
It's
what they're going to.
execution and adoption.
Yep,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, adoption is huge, but
Yeah.
execution goes a long way towards pushing adoption. Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. I totally agree.
All right, cool. Let's go ahead and jump on to the variation news here. If I could click the right button, there we go. So Amazon halts variation theme cleanup after seller backlash. Amazon has reversed its plan to remove variation themes from listings after strong pushback from seller community. Originally, the policy would have impacted listings using themes considered irrelevant or redundant, sparking concern over lost search rankings and the need to rebuild parent-child relationships. Now, I will clarify that a little bit, at least according to Amazon, they didn't halt anything. They just clarified that,
Yeah.
we were just kidding on that. We were talking about these variations that nobody's using that we're removing.
Yeah. 6 months old or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna go out there and say it. They're gonna break shit. That's what's gonna happen. They said, hey, we're gonna first of all, they announced, hey, we're gonna go break shit. And then everyone, whoa, you can't just break everything. And it's okay. We're gonna not break shit and
Yes.
do something else that'll break shit. That's
Well,
the way I see
and
this
they've been
going.
working on trying to clean up the variation mess for.
Mm.
I mean, this is kind of in some ways it's kind of old news. I mean, they've been
Yep.
suspending people for variation of use for, I mean, it feels like forever.
Yep.
But, so, but the way that they have handled it, I understand the reasoning behind it because there were definitely people you doing a variation with like an old spatula to sell their new baby carrier,
Yeah.
because and so I definitely understand the impetus behind it,
Yeah.
but like there have been times where we've had clients that have gotten policy violations for variation abuse, and it's like this is literally we're pretty white hat, like this is and we were really able to get those overturned, but it's easy to get snagged in those, especially if you have like a complicated product mix with size, color, style variations.
Yeah. I
So
I
that's the actual notice that they
oh yeah,
put
okay,
out.
there we go. I was looking for that just now. All right. We announced that
So
irrelevant or redundant variation themes would be removed from our listings. This variation themes deprecated, do not use. Change is only intended to impact variation themes that were not needed. Whose opinion
But
is
that's
that
the
based
keyword,
on?
intended.
yeah,
Intended. Like, because they don't, like, I feel like they need like a larger board of sellers that they talk to
Oh
that
my god, that would
say,
be amazing.
yeah, that they could, from different categories, different verticals, different sizes. Because I think sometimes they're making these decisions with bigger brands in mind, but then they forget some of the edge cases. And for them, the edge
Yeah.
cases are probably rounding numbers. So it might be that they've done the numbers and determined it's not necessary for them. But
yeah.
yeah. It's what they change that they don't the changes that they don't intend.
Yeah. So here's another thing that's going to be interesting is that for legitimate parent-child variations that are out there, there are plenty of ones that like I have one, my own, in fact, that the reviews from my prior variations, let's say I just do a version 2 of my camping blanket, which is what I did at the time. Well, if Amazon goes, "Oh, well, that one's not been sold for 12 months. Let's strip it out." That also strips out all the reviews. And that would be a fully legitimate, "Hey, I've iterated on my product, and now this new product that I launched 2 months ago has 11 reviews or 30 reviews or 13 reviews, but my prior product that has 8 years of sales, all those reviews get stripped away." That is going to happen. That and they say here, the change was only intended to impact variation themes that were not needed. Well, who the hell defined that? And intentions mean nothing on when it comes to Amazon's actual actions and the impact that that has on sellers. And that's why I so adamantly say that they're going to break a lot of stuff. And I mean, I'm actually gonna Todd, I'm
Well,
gonna
this
plug Catalog Defender here for just a second because we built it exactly for this. I think that a lot of people are gonna need Catalog Defender because you're not gonna know that your variations get split until it affects your money.
Yeah, it's such a pain, especially when
Yeah.
you have a big catalog,
Yes, exactly.
and it
Sorry,
um,
Gordon,
happens
go ahead.
all the time. Not even because of this. Amazon just breaks them up
Mhm,
randomly
mhm,
all the time with no
mhm.
notifications. It's
Oh, yeah.
very annoying.
Yeah, absolutely.
and so there's a couple ways to read this. We're only going to remove the variation themes. So that would mean that there were so the way I originally read that was that if like a weird like theme like a flavor uh flavor style or something if some variation theme hadn't been used anywhere for 12 months, and then but then how many of those that aren't being used at all? And then are they looking at they're only going to remove certain variation themes, and of those, I mean, there's still, I think there's a lot of room for um, interpretation there.
Oh, for
Uh,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
yeah.
and some kind of notification, I guess, would be good as well. I mean, they're going to look at ones that haven't sold in the past 12 months, but it's going to affect some people that still want those variations up. For whatever reason they haven't sold in the past 12 months. Maybe they've been
Was it no
back
sell on the
ordered or
individual
something like
child or
that.
no? Yeah. No.
And for sure it's Amazon. There's going to be ones that they're going to do that are still in use. There's going to be accidents
Yeah.
that they're going to delete. And so it's going to affect people for sure. But like you said, you're just going to have to keep an eye on your variations like you do anyways. And if you're not, you should be watching your variations anyways, because Amazon does this regardless of this notice or not. They've been breaking up a lot of variations lately that they deem, incorrect,
Yeah.
whether they are or not. Because I had, for example, it's a fishing lure that comes in different colors, right? And fishing lures are named like the colors are named watermelon and crawfish and stuff like that, right? So
Mhm.
those are the legitimate color variations for these, but Amazon didn't see it as legitimate colors, so they broke up, put them back together.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's very frustrating, that's for sure. But that's par for the course. It's part of selling on Amazon these days.
Exactly. Yeah, Amazon's so big that the index finger doesn't know what the middle finger is doing as it points itself all over the place to us sellers, right? I
Yeah.
just came up with that one. I'll improve on it. And but at the same time, this is the price of doing business with Amazon these
Mhm.
days. Like when we all got started on Amazon, it was far, far simpler. We had We had call centers that we could just dial in to that were in Arizona and Florida and New York and California, I think. And this is just the price of doing business. It's not as simple as, and any experienced seller will know, it's not as simple as just listing a product and making money anymore. This is a legitimate business. You have hurdles that you have to overcome, and those that do it better than others make more money, right?
Yep.
So you have to learn how to deal with Amazon. It's if I say this all the time, Amazon's like a schizophrenic dictatorship. They're the boss and they don't know what they're doing in life, right?
Yep.
And so and their AIs and computers are exactly the same way, and their seller support is also the exact same way, and you know the policies better than almost anyone that's helping you, right? And so you just have to learn how to navigate the waters, the Amazon waters. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's I can't explain how happy I am when I'm calling Amazon support, and don't take this the wrong way, anybody out there. Don't cancel me or anything. But the person answers the phone and they're like, "Hi, this is Mary," or "This is Mark," and they have like a southern accent or something. I'm like, "Yes, we're going to get something done this
Yeah.
time." I reached someone in the USA who can actually have access to systems and knows how to do stuff. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's just one of those things that you deal with Amazon, and it's just part of the beast these
Yep.
days.
Yeah, an old tactic was to pretend like you spoke Spanish so that you get transferred to another call center
Because
who
Costa
had
Rica rocks.
and you would get better service because they could actually they weren't just you'd ask a question and it wouldn't be like, okay, hold on, please. You have you pressed the power button yet? Like,
Mhm.
okay, transfer me.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are fun when you type up the case and you say, I've already done this, I've already done this. And the first question they ask you, of course, is the first thing you told them you already did.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
did you
I,
read the case?
yeah, so I have no evidence of any of my dealings with seller support that they actually do read the case.
Mhm.
You can imagine how many cases I file doing review removal. And the modus operandi is less is more. Don't write a story
Yeah,
and keep your feelings out of it because they don't
for
care.
sure. Yeah. It's definitely good. Something that I keep thinking of. So Rufus, which is, of course, is on the front end. I read now that Rufus has access to all of your shopping data and all the chats and everything that you've done
Oh,
in your
interesting.
front end account. And so Rufus supposedly is going to be getting much better at recommending products and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
And I've heard that they are working on AI for the seller side. But it would be
Yes.
very cool if the AI has access, to all of your case history and every communication you've ever made with Amazon. So it can look at all that and be like, we've got all this information already. Let's go ahead and just clear this issue up right away.
Yeah. I covered this recently, I think, on my podcast. Here, I think two things. One, I actually believe that AI as the first point of contact for seller support will get you actual support faster than going through their current system. And I
Mhm.
believe that because you will be able to locate the policy and quote the policy and say, this is the problem that I'm having. Or alternatively, I'm running into this issue. What is the policy? Right.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I think that's actually going to be a good thing and eliminate a lot of just back and forth that Amazon's getting with existing sellers, especially new people. Right.
Yep.
On the flip side of that coin, Amazon policies often contradict each other. So there are different policies in different places. There's public facing, there's behind Seller Central, and then there are policies that are quoted inside of like their chat, and the community and stuff like that are from legitimate Amazon employees with links to these places. And I have found it's not extreme, and I can't imagine even how it would be possible to keep this all organized. It's certainly not for my mind, but I have found contradictions, direct contradictions.
Mhm.
And as a matter of fact, one of them is in their Vine program contract, where it says you may not under any circumstance contact the Vine reviewer. And 2 paragraphs later, it says, should you want to use their review for marketing and some other stuff, please reach out to the Vine reviewer.
Mhm.
So, and that's 2 paragraphs apart in a contract.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got that, and then seller support will tell you to violate the terms of
For
service as
sure.
well.
Yes.
I've had it happen numerous times, where you're working with a client and their brand name is like missing a letter or something, right? It's missing the S at the end, or the brand name is like the product name instead of the brand name. And so you're trying to fix those kind of things. And seller support will tell you, oh, you got to create a new listing. That's always their first thing. So I'm
Yeah.
always like, so you're saying I need to violate terms of service and create a duplicate listing for the exact same product?
Yeah.
And then they're always like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And they go around in circles and
Yeah.
end up back where we were in anyways. But
I'm on the behind Seller Central login on the variation relationship FAQ, and it says how to reassign a child item to a new parent. Number 1, delete the child item. Okay, yeah, that would work, but if you delete the child item, does that not delete all the reviews? Why?
No, we do that all the time. You can
Really?
you would delete it, and then there's a specific way you do it, but like there are times where there's issues with like a listing not changing
Yeah.
or something with the variations or the reviews not showing up, and so we would delete the child and reinstate it,
Okay.
and it doesn't impact reviews.
But so it says here you must wait 24 hours before you
Yes.
can reuse that SKU. So they'll hold that, because if you get of orphaned ASIN where a child variation splits away, it takes the reviews with it. So you can reuse that and it'll hold on to those reviews and everything's
For that
hunky-dory.
24-hour period, you might 24 to 48 hours, you might see a discrepancy, but
Okay.
uh, yeah.
Okay, well that's good,
Yeah.
because I would be terribly worried of that occurring. I don't do variations. All of mine are single parent ASINs. So
We have a client that's got like 10,000 products under like 50 parents. So
okay.
we
Okay,
deal
so
with a lot of
good.
variations. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it doesn't mean I still hold my breath every time we do it, right? We don't do it
sure.
willy nilly. So because there's always that one day that Amazon is like, just kidding. But it is an effective way to fix things that can be stuck on listings.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
since you've got that client, I'm compelled to ask, how often do you have to handle orphaned ASINs where the child ASIN gets split away?
They so we don't get so you get more orphans when you have a ton of resellers
Mm,
that are kind of creating and things aren't getting matched up, and then people are messing with the parent. So we don't have a ton of those. Every now and again, Amazon will just randomly break one up,
yeah.
but we're going to see that pretty because of the way that we monitor the ads. That's why we do everything kind of all in one package, is because we'll
Yeah.
see it in the ads. So like you would see it in the percentage of ad sales and the budget and
Yep.
the conversion rate really quickly.
Yep.
So having everything together allows us to see those things a lot faster.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that 24-hour wait though is the most
Oh,
annoying thing, especially
yeah.
if it's like a good selling product. You're like, so you're telling me I have to
Stop.
remove my product from sales for
Yeah.
24 hours. It's just
Well, every
it's
time we do it,
painful.
the brand's like, "Are you sure?" We're like, "We do it all the time. This is what Amazon told us to do." I was like, "There always could go something could always go wrong, but this is what we think should happen." So there's always that, yeah, we definitely still have a, little breath holding there.
Yeah. And the 24 hours, it definitely doesn't take 24 hours. I've got a computer programming background. Now, I don't know the sophistication of Amazon systems, of course, but it definitely doesn't take 24 hours to replicate data through databases, at least not nowadays.
Yeah, I know. So from my days of Managed by Stats, I know that Amazon has a lot of different data banks, which
Mhm.
is why you might see on the East Coast a a different version of a product display page than you might on the West Coast, or on this side of the planet, it's different than on this side of the planet.
Yeah.
And so I've definitely seen, like, when Amazon rolls out, first of all, we all know they're always testing, right? And so you see these occasional uh, changes, but when it comes to a full rollout, I've seen that it actually takes weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's good that they segment that way so that they
Yeah.
can test things out, kinda
Yeah.
like Walmart is testing out in a Texas store.
Hmm.
It'd be like them having, "Oh, we have to put the QR codes in all the stores to do the test because
Yep.
we we don't have segmentation," but it's
Yeah.
a similar thing, it's just online, they segment different areas so they can do testing in silos and such.
Yep.
But I think the 24 hours is way more than it needs to be. It's more just a way to get you to go away till the next day
Yeah.
and come back, I think.
And hopefully forget.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But all right, cool. Any other comments on the variations and things like that before we move on?
Nope. I just think they're gonna break stuff.
All right, awesome. Let's go ahead and jump on to our next story here. So, Pattern versus Anker, $2 billion Amazon strategies face off. Pattern's IPO filing reveals a stark contrast to Anker's Amazon native strategy. While Anker built recognizable brands and diversified into retail, Pattern built back end infrastructure and doubled down on Amazon, with 94% of its $1.8 billion revenue tied to the platform. So this just interested me because it's the battle of, I think, the two main ways
Methodologies.
to sell on Amazon
Yeah.
nowadays, right? You've got the private label like
Mhm.
Anchor, where you're
Mhm.
creating your own brand, and then you've got the brand partnerships, which is
Mhm.
what Pattern is doing and
Mhm.
becoming the exclusive seller for these products and helping them sell on Amazon. So, Pattern is basically what I do on Amazon, basically
Same.
what you do for selling your products as well. And Robin, I know that you work with both types of sellers on Amazon as well. So this was just really cool that Pattern is going to be doing their IPO. Anchor, I believe, already did theirs earlier in the year or last year. So it's just really cool to see the growth of these two companies.
Yeah. I wanna hear what Robin has to say, since I have experience on both sides, but she's got experience with more on both sides. I wanna know what she's gotta say on this.
Um, I think that I think I feel like this is going to sound like a non-answer, but I think that there's a pros and cons to both, right?
Yeah.
So you have a distributed risk with something like Pattern, but you also have more plates to spin. So with like what we saw with Thrashio is that you get the wrong person with the wrong level of expertise trying to do too many things at once, that doesn't really understand and thinks that they're just going to be able to scoop up brands and cause profitability. That doesn't always necessarily mean that that's going to happen.
Mhm.
Now, I think Pattern has, I know some people that have worked at Pattern in the past, and they've been very highly skilled. And so, I think that, it's just like Anchor, these massive success stories, yes, Anchor started at the right place at the right time, but they also have done a ton right. And so I think that these are both kind of unicorns. I don't think that anybody should set up their Amazon business thinking that they're going to be Anchor or Pattern. If that's something you want to strive for, you live your best life, uh, do you. But I think that holding many brands is difficult for if you're actually going to hold the brands versus just manage the brands,
Yeah.
then that's very cash flow intensive. And
Yes.
Mhm.
so you would need somebody that's really analytical to really constantly be analyzing what products to spend the money on, where to grow, watching inventory levels. So there's a lot of logistics and distribution that would be involved in something like Pattern.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. So I have done my own private label, but I started with and remain doing brand exclusivity. Now, Pattern and I actually started selling at the same time on Amazon. So it was in 2010. Because I remember when I went to the very first Accelerate by Pattern, which not to be confused with Accelerate by Amazon, the CEO came up and said, "Hey, I started in 2010 and I did this." And I was like, "Oh my God, if I were a smarter businessman, I could be the other Pattern, you know?" But they one thing that's unique about Pattern as compared to my model, and Todd, even yours, is I've never purchased my inventory. It has been a
Mhm.
partnership with the brand. They have the inventory. I manage the sales and customer service and logistics of Amazon, right? And so my cash flow is um maximized, but also maybe my profit is not as much, but you know, I prefer it that way. My risk is subsidized across brands that I am partnered with, that I intend to treat as my own brand, which is what any brand would want. Whereas on the other side, if you are on the Anker side of things, and hey, my hat's tipped to those who do private labels and especially do them well. I
Mhm.
don't care for it because it is a ton of work as compared to managing someone else's brand where they have the facilities in place. They've got somebody that does their marketing, their images, ideally, not in my case sometimes, but um
Yeah,
it,
especially if they do all that well. All the outside
yes.
Amazon stuff, if they have that all built up, they have a following, email list, social, and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and they just don't wanna deal with Amazon, and you can take that over for them, those are great to
Best
work
case
with.
scenario. Yep. And that's exactly what all of my business relationships have been. My business partnerships with brands is they exist, they're doing marketing, they're driving their own traffic, they don't want to deal with Amazon. So I
Mhm.
go, cool, I will deal with Amazon. I have extensive experience with it. I have pre-approvals on all manner of food and supplements and all those gated areas. And I can handle that for you. And I just take my piece off the top and that's it. You know,
Yep.
and they're like, cool, we're hands off, we're still making money, you handle that.
Yeah, it's, like I said, these are the 2 growth areas on Amazon and ways to sell.
Mhm.
Either building your own brand or reselling other people's brands, for them.
Yeah.
And, just being a straight reseller, those days I think are going away. You have to be a value added reseller essentially, and building a
Yeah.
partnership with the brand, not just, going to Walmart and buying stuff off the shelf and reselling it. You can still do that and make money, but it's getting harder.
Yeah, but then you get straight into the pattern model. Like, might as well just go in deep, you know?
Mhm.
If you could find yourself trying to figure out what my and my wife's capacity would be to manage brands, depending on size, 3 to 5, I'd bet.
Mhm.
Probably like yeah, probably 3
Without a
to 5.
team, yes. Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
build a team, of course, if you're gonna get bigger.
And
Yeah,
Pattern did have a good team early on,
for
and
sure.
then they had a
Amazing
ton of
team.
I don't know where they got their capital from, nor does any of my dang business, but I know that they were fairly well at least it appeared from my point of view that they had a good stream of capital.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and with Anchor, if you're someone out there looking to build a private label brand, they're the perfect one to look at, and they're based in China, but you
Mhm.
wouldn't really know it because they don't act like a typical Chinese brand on Amazon. They're
True.
more They made high quality products. I buy
Yep.
their products
Me too.
because
I'm sponsored
they're
by them.
good. I know they're going to work really good and get the job done. And so they made really good products, really good marketing, built out great listings, and built their brand outside of Amazon
Yeah.
as well. Social platforms, influencers,
Yep.
their own website, and all that stuff that you have to do now if you're going to be successful on Amazon.
Yeah, so they're in my community, in the off-road community, and me and my buddies are actually sponsored by Anker. It's not Anker, it's Anker Solix, which I think is like a subsidiary. They do the big old battery banks.
Okay.
And so the 5 of us are actually sponsored by Anker, and that marketing side of thing, on the influencer side of thing, they do work like a Chinese company.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's not your standard, it's not like buying direct from the brand. Like, I don't know how to put it. There's just a way that the brand operates. You're like, "That looks like quality, and I like it," you know?
Mhm.
And then on the influencer side of thing, it is very much dealing with a Chinese company, and they hire these other Chinese marketing companies to manage the
Yeah.
influencers, and so the contract is with them. But then when you want to talk to Anker, like I had a port fail on my Anker, and they're like, "Well, we don't have your order." I'm like, "Well, there's no order because you guys sponsored this and sent it to me to do content on." And so I had to go a bit through a couple of hoops with the mothership company.
Mhm.
But there, I've got 3 different battery banks, and Anker is by far hands down my favorite, and because it's higher quality than the others, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm a big brand fan personally.
Yep, definitely. Any other thoughts, Robin?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
All right, very good. Well, let's go ahead and jump on to our next and last story here. Amazon buyers are flocking to essentials but paying more for top products. Searches in essential categories like health and household and grocery have surged on Amazon in 2025, while interest in categories like electronics and clothing have dropped. At the same time, prices for top ranking organic products in many of these fast growing categories have actually gone up. So this one just caught my eye because everybody's talking about inflation and recession worries and stuff like that. It feels like for like the last 20 years now they've been
Yeah.
talking about that.
Buy silver, buy
So
silver,
what's that?
buy silver, buy gold, buy silver. Silver's
Yes,
going up
yes.
$400 an ounce.
Yeah, gold has been really good for me. I did buy some quite a long time ago, and it's been at its peak though for quite a while.
Mhm.
But yeah, so health and household, beauty and personal care, and gourmet or grocery, I should say, have become the top categories currently on Amazon, while others have been dropping.
Mhm.
And these are the current average prices in those areas. So of course, grocery pretty low, around the 15 to 16. Health and household up there quite a ways, 25 to 26. And then beauty and personal care between 18 to 24, a little over 24.
Mhm.
So have you, Robin, seen with your clients any kind of issues with declines in sales in the more the categories that typically drop when there's recession fears?
Yeah, so the highest in, luxury brands are still doing fine. And then essentials are still doing fine. But companies that had kind of like the middle, like aspirational wants, but didn't provide like a big social status or weren't tied to like a specific special needs or like special interest or like some sort of like community, those are definitely we're starting to see, slowing down in growth. We're seeing some dips in sales, um, you know, and then just overall pressure. The brands are, and we're having more brands that are having more pressure as far as finances because,
Mhm.
you know, and if you are a brand that's facing these tariffs, I saw somebody said, well, I had to I increased my price and I lost my buy box. You need to be looking at those proactively. So if you know that your next shipment, it will be in 2 months and you will have to raise your price due to the tariffs, you need to start slowly raising the price now, because otherwise you'll have a buy box suppression. So part of that is making sure that you're managing things so you don't have a big dip. I think that was in the article there. Is, she said that, or maybe I read it somewhere else today, but
Mhm.
so I think that there is managing that. And then I think that, looking at the overall costs, it might be that for some of our brands, we have decided to not do as aggressive promotions, to not do maybe as big of a discount, to focus on product A versus product B, because that has a higher profit margin. So the
Mhm.
overall, we have one client there, overall revenue is down significantly, but we've been maintaining or increasing their profit.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we have one of our brands that we had to increase the prices quite significantly because their products are made from aluminum in the United States, and the pricing of aluminum has just been
Crazy.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty big jump, and they did have a few of them that got suppressed, but we were able to get seller support to unsuppress them successfully by submitting, the new costs and everything to them, and they suppressed the buy box, which was good. And so none of them are suppressed anymore. But yeah, it's definitely something you want to watch out for if you can predict. The aluminum price was like overnight; it just doubled in
Yeah, you
price.
didn't have there wasn't a big window there for you. The other
No,
thing as we head
not at
into
all.
Q4 is you need to be thinking about reference prices. So if you know you want to be able to do a discount, but to do that discount, you need to be at a certain price. You need to make sure you're at that price at least 30 days. And that reference price is at least 30 days before the next tentpole event, which we're going to be, if they do fall days again, that's going to be just around the corner. So you need to be looking at, where do you need your pricing to be profitable, and where do you need your pricing to be in order to have the promotions that you want to have, because
Mhm.
you won't be eligible for a lightning deal if your reference price isn't, if your reference point isn't at a point where that discount meets that threshold.
Yep. Yeah, you got to be really careful of that. They can mess up all of your promotions pretty easily with that.
Yeah.
See, this is one of the things that really pisses me off about Amazon is you have some significant increase in, like you have with aluminum. I've got a buddy that does 2 containers a week of aluminum, and like it nearly bankrupt his business when we saw these spikes,
Mhm.
because they can't just double or 250% their prices over a week, you know?
Yep.
But you do need to raise rates, and Amazon will thrash you for doing so. And this is an unacceptable business model, in my opinion. But all that aside, we all know I like to go on rants about Amazon.
Do
And
you? I didn't
n-
know that about you.
yeah, no, it's a thing. I put it on my LinkedIn. It's
Is it under your credential? It should be under your
yeah.
credential.
One
Like,
Yeah.
of my things is internationally renowned as a great giving great hugs, and the other one is Amazon ranter. Um,
Yeah.
I should put that on there.
Put that as
But
your job title.
yeah. So I have to ask this because my wife is the one that manages our product details page. And I've gone in there a couple of times looking at numbers going, we got to raise the price, and I kill our sales. And we're the only ones selling the product, right? And so what I know it's not, you can't give a blanket response on this, but there's got to be a safe percentage to increase and a safe chronological increment to do it. So what percentage would you raise rates over what period of time? Is it weekly, monthly?
we usually do like 3% weekly, but you
Okay.
need to make sure you're really testing and looking at this during like without like a tent pole event in there. What we're
Mhm.
really looking at is not only losing the buy box suppression, because that's one thing,
Yeah.
but there's also a price elasticity issue. So for every product, you have to test to see price elasticity. So we had a pair of folding sunglasses that we were working with, and they were priced at $39, and they were supposed to be like a knockoff of like Ray-Ban, right? Not a knockoff, but like a imitator, right?
Alternative.
Yeah, an alternative purchase, right?
Yeah.
And so what we did is we actually found that on that product, by raising it from 39 to $80, the conversion rate actually went up.
Mhm.
So because then it made it, it made it so people are like, well, that's too cheap. It can't be good if it's that
Yes,
price. So there's a
absolutely.
bottom where you hurt your conversions by being low, and there's a top. Like I was just looking for something. I was looking at a baby carrier for a friend,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Oh, I will pay this, but I will not pay that."
Yeah.
And it was like just like $3 over. I was like, "That's just past what I'm willing to pay for something."
Yeah. Mhm.
So there's as you test up, you always kind of start raising up. If we can do it at launch, we start it up, and then we discount down, alternating back and forth between the higher and lower pricing, so we can make sure that one week is not statistically significant data. So by using the
Mhm.
discounts to bring the price up and down, and then slowly raising the price, we can see where the elasticity hits.
Yep, makes sense. I have always um gone to the middle upper to upper price point in my categories because there's two reasons. One, I actually find I have a better conversion rate, and two, there's more profit to put into advertising if you're doing advertising.
There was one product that we worked with for a while that there was no difference between their product. They were selling a $90 product, and other people were selling it for 20. There was no significant, like, it's just, it was not materially different, but they were able to take that money and plow it back into advertising.
Mhm.
But you have to make sure that so with that elasticity, if you make a significant change to the listing, that might change the bar. So if you are really able to refocus on features that appeal to a customer that has a higher socioeconomic status, or is willing to pay, that has like a more vested emotional interest in buying that product, you might be able to increase what you're able to purchase or sell
Mhm.
your products for as well.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta play with it. You never really want to be like the low price leader.
No.
Right.
You want to stay away from that, but playing with the moving the price up and seeing where things can go. If you've got $20 margin and everybody else has a $5 margin, well, that's $15 more per sale you can spend on ads
Yeah.
to outcompete them.
Yep.
So yeah, it's really important to think about that when you're creating products, especially if you're based outside of China. Essentially, you're going to have to compete on value versus instead of price.
Value, well, yeah, or just brand image, which
Mhm.
in its
Well,
own
it's a
way
part of
builds value.
value.
It is. It is. Yeah.
There's a Anker, for example. There's probably other companies that make battery chargers that are just as good as Anker, but the
Definitely.
perceived value of the Anker brand now is just so high that you just assume that it's probably better.
Yeah. I mean, happen to know that the brand Bluetti manufactures for a lot of brands in the space.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that happens a lot.
Mhm. Mhm.
You
Yeah,
just go
'cause
to your
I
grocery store and you can see that all over the place. The grocery store brand is probably from the same factory as some of those other brands that are for sale for a much higher price.
yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yep. Happens a lot. But
Yes, it
yeah,
does.
anything else on this, or we can go ahead and wrap it up?
I'm good.
All right, cool. Well, that was another fun episode, Robin, Dana, and I appreciate you guys joining me. Anybody out there watching, we do this every Friday, so happy to have you join us next week, and we'll talk about whatever happens this coming week. So until then, everybody have an awesome Labor Day weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Hi.